Time now for 10 questions with Cape Breton Eagles forward Cam Squires. Cam is a draft pick of the New Jersey Devils. Cam, your time attending Devils camp. Who's the most famous former Devil you've had the chance to meet?
I'd probably say Jack Hughes.
You didn't get a chance to meet any of the famous alumni?
I'd say current player. There's a lot of 86 jerseys in the stands, but definitely, if you're counting alumni, I'd say Marty Brodeur is definitely up there.
If Cam had the opportunity, would you go for a ride in a hot air balloon?
A hot air balloon? I don't think I would. I don't really see the need to be up that high unless I'm traveling to another destination. I don't know how safe those things are. They look pretty sketchy.
You need to talk to Blade Man Dixon. Blade does not like heights. What's the best meal you can remember having on the road with the Eagles?
Wow, there's been a lot of meals, wide varieties.
Yes.
There's been a fair share of steak dinners that are usually pretty good. Kind of go off the board. There's a meal that we get every time at a little restaurant that's usually pretty packed in Baie-Comeau. We were actually talking about it today. A kebab with lamb, chicken, and steak. And then they got some potatoes and stuff on the side. But the lamb's actually pretty good.
We're not talking about the pizza place. That place is called Greco, and I think it's a chain, and I don't know how many locations there are, but you're right. It's really good. Because I went there in the regular season last year, and the guys were excited when they found out we were going back there in the playoffs. Cam, remember a movie that he was excited for that ended up not being that good?
I've had a lot that were probably the other way around, more so. I'll go with one. The whole team got a classic cheap night at the movie theater on Tuesdays. Kind of famous around the league and stuff. I've heard over years. But I would say it was called Blink Twice, and the whole team went at the start of this year. And I don't know. It was with Channing Tatum, I believe. Really nothing went on in the movie, and it kind of just ended abruptly. The guys all were leaving the theater kind of going, what was going on? Didn't really know what happened.
Other than the Eagles' regular black and white kits, what's the favorite Eagles jersey that you've had the chance to wear?
Yeah, there's been a lot. I did love the Truth and Reconciliation jerseys, black and red.
Yes.
My first year. That was a nice touch. Just kind of simple, but dark colors. I do like the darker jerseys. I'd say probably favorite all time would be the Coal Mining Night ones. I believe that was my 17-year-old year.
Those come up quite a bit. Those were really nice. And again, goes to what you're talking, the darker gray. What's Cam's earliest memory of listening to music?
It'd have to be listening to live music at the Cavendish Beach Music Festival. Back in 2009, I would have been 4, I believe. I do not remember listening to Taylor Swift live that year. I do remember meeting her. Just those years, Kenny Chesney, Blake Shelton, many, many country legends at that music festival.
The other thing I will ask, who's a band or artist you would like to see play at Cavendish that you could see playing there?
I'm kind of going the other way with it. As I get starting to like it a lot more. It's too bad those country legends are starting to get older, but my family and my dad have always had me hooked on old country. I'd love to see King George Strait, live. I just think he's just great, and I've heard he's great live in person too.
You obviously had the opportunity to play the center position every so often. Whether it's happened or hypothetically it's happened, who's a player you'd be most likely to chirp at in the queue at the face-off circle?
Oh, a player I'd be most likely to chirp at.
Or maybe one that you have in the past.
None come to mind. I do remember taking my first draws. I did play the middle in my 16-year a little bit more often. My first draws were against Elliot Desnoyers on the Halifax Mooseheads in Halifax in my first game.
It'd be intimidating.
Yeah, it definitely was. I don't think I said anything. Back then, when you were 16, 17, you didn't open your mouth to older guys. Times are changing now, so.
So you think if you're matched up against a 16 or 17-year-old, he might say something to you?
Oh, yeah. You never know anymore.
The league is changing at a rapid pace.
It is.
If Cam sees people arguing in public, is he the type to try to be nosy and listen in, or do you actually try to run away and get away from the awkwardness?
I think it depends on the level of fire it's going at it with. If it's something interesting that catches your eye, I guess you could listen for a little bit, but at the same time, you kind of want to just mind your own business. It depends on how heated the argument gets.
That's fair. What was the last thing you bought before this interview?
The last thing I bought was a steak sandwich at Just in Time.
How was it?
Delicious. Recommend it. Just down there in Sydney River.
I've only eaten there a few times, but it was a very good spot the last time I was there. That's all for part 1 of 10 questions with Cam Squires. You're listening to the intermission of Celtic Kubota, Cape Breton Eagles Hockey, 1270 CJCB.